And then when it comes to football, what is a darn Hall of Famer? What is a Hall of Famer now? Is it a guy who played a long time? Once upon a time, a Hall of Famer was somebody who changed the darn game, who provoked you to reach in your pocket and pay for admission to go see that guy play. Forget the rest of the team. You wanted to see that guy. That's not a Hall of Fame anymore.
Hi, I'm Jason, and you're watching Stories on Sports. This is our top 5 NFL Hall of Famers that probably do not deserve to be in Canton. Without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 5 is Kurt Warner.
How did you get in here?
Now, don't get me wrong, I love Kurt Warner. I think his story was absolutely amazing. And was there anything more fun to watch than The Greatest Show on Turf? Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. Wait, where's the Wizard of Oz?
If I were king of the forest.
Not that Wizard of Oz. There he is, Oz Zahir Hakim. Simply put, that season and that team were so fun to watch. But at a certain point, longevity has to come into play. Kurt Warner had 2 amazing seasons with the Rams. He had a few good years with Arizona. But that doesn't constitute making the Hall of Fame. And quite frankly, neither does 32,000 career passing yards. Unfortunately, everybody that has a great story and ends up winning a Super Bowl cannot make the Hall of Fame. Now listen to this interview with Kurt Warner and Rich Eisen. They talk about if Matt Stafford was to win the Super Bowl this year, which he obviously did. Kurt gives his opinion on whether Matt Stafford is Hall of Fame worthy or not.
Do you think Stafford gets a bust in that gallery in Canton with you if he wins this game? Do you think that happens, Kurt?
I'm not sure if it's as easy as just winning this game. I think there's more to come. But what I know is that if he was able to duplicate some of the things he did in Detroit after winning this, and I think there's still a few more questions with him that people want to see him. I believe so. And again, but I'm not sure just that one season is enough to kind of stamp his spot in Canton.
The guy has almost 50,000 passing yards coming into this game.
I get it. But
at this point, I think Rich Eisen's a little bit shocked and a little bit confused. So there you have it. Kurt Warner says that Matt Stafford wouldn't be a Hall of Famer just yet with over 50,000 passing yards and a Super Bowl ring. Yeah, I don't know, Kurt. You might want to take a look in the mirror on this one. Coming in at number 4 is Lynn Swann.
How did you get in here?
Did you know that Lynn Swann has never had a season with 900 yards? And for his career, he has less than 5,500 yards receiving. Randy Moss had that in his first 4 years. Did you also know that he's only had 1 season in his entire career where he's caught more than 50 balls? And as far as the NFL Hall of Fame is concerned, Lynn Swann should not be in it. Now, I understand he had one of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history. If not for David Tyree, the greatest. But one great catch and one great game should not put you in the Hall of Fame. In my opinion, Lynn Swann's stats for that era just weren't good enough to be in the Hall of Fame. But don't ask Lynn Swann his opinion, because I'm pretty sure that he thinks he's the greatest wide receiver ever based on this conversation.
But is Jerry Rice the greatest receiver of all time?
Well, you guys were always pointing out the
Well,
fact
no,
that
I'm asking
he
you.
had Joe Montana and Steve Young.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice had these guys who are so accurate throwing the ball. He's catching it right here. Right here, yards after catch. I mean, he could have been born with no arms and still caught 1,000 passes from his quarterbacks.
What are you trying to say here, Swanee?
I mean, John and I had Terry Bradshaw. We're diving for passes,
And just because you're on a legendary team that wins a few Super Bowls, that doesn't make you a guarantee to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, if that's how it's going to work, we're going to have to induct a lot of New England Patriots in the next few years. Coming in at number 3 is Terrell Davis. From 1996 to 1998, nobody dominated the NFL like Terrell Davis. Having the initials TD fit him perfectly. From 1996 to 1998, he had over 50 touchdowns in those 3 seasons. And in 1998, he pulled off one of the greatest seasons of all time, rushing for over 2,000 yards and over 20 touchdowns. A 2-time Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP, an NFL Most Valuable Player, all within his 4th year of the NFL, he had to be a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame, right? Well, unfortunately, not so fast. After his amazing 1998 season, Davis was plagued with injuries. In 1999, Davis tore his ACL and his MCL in his right leg. And worst of all, it was all while trying to make a tackle on an interception in the fourth quarter. In the 2000 season, he was once again plagued with injuries and only played in 5 games. And then in 2001, he played in only 8 games and had arthroscopic surgery. That would be the end of his career.
What is a darn Hall of Famer?
Okay guys, now for Terrell Davis being in the Hall of Fame. This is another case of being an incredible player, but just not playing long enough. You shouldn't be able to make the Hall of Fame by having 3 amazing seasons and that's it. If that's the case, you're going to open the door for a lot of running backs. Tiki Barber, Jamal Lewis, Clinton Portis, Sean Alexander, Priest Holmes, Aikman Green, and probably a bunch of others that I can't even think of right now. Again, did Terrell Davis have one of the greatest seasons in NFL history? Absolutely. You can't just put everybody that has a 2,000-yard rushing season into the Hall of Fame. Jamal Lewis, Chris Johnson, are you going to put them in the Hall of Fame? Also, if you enjoy sports cards or you're looking to get into sports cards, please check out a couple of my videos at the end of this that I'll recommend for you to watch. Now let's get to number 2. Coming in at number 2 is Troy Aikman.
How did you get in here?
Quarterback, UCLA.
Aikman's going to be a star in this league.
I've never seen a more accurate quarterback.
He's the most accurate thrower I think has ever played the position.
Guys, Troy Aikman was nothing more than a game manager.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
He had one season in his entire career where he threw for over 20 touchdowns. We could have put Neil O'Donnell or Steve Berline on that team, and they would have won Super Bowls.
How'd that make you feel?
Aikman was so overrated. In 1996, he made the Pro Bowl, throwing for 12 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. In 94, he made the Pro Bowl, throwing 13 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. And he only had 2,600 yards.
Well, not too good.
We have to stop putting people in the Hall of Fame just because they were on a dynasty team.
How about them Cowboys?
Coming in at number 1 is Joe Namath.
How did you get in here?
Everybody knows Joe Namath for his guaranteed win of Super Bowl III. Well, that and the pantyhose commercial.
Women of America, the Beauty Miss Pantyhose can make any legs look like $1 million.
Now, I don't wear pantyhose, but if Beauty Mist can make my legs look good, imagine what they'll do for yours.
Somehow, everything looks better through Beauty Mist.
Especially your legs.
And hey, let's not forget the shaving cream commercial with Farrah Fawcett. In my opinion, Joe Namath should be more in the Celebrity Hall of Fame than the NFL Hall of Fame. And Namath's stats didn't look nearly as good as those legs in the pantyhose commercial. Joe Namath had 173 touchdown passes, but 220 interceptions. His completion percentage was 50.1%.
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Now I get the times were different, and I also get that Joe Namath was one of the most polarizing figures in NFL history. But does that really constitute a Hall of Fame? Namath played 12 years in the NFL. 5 of those years, he didn't even throw for 1,500 yards. And out of the 12 seasons that he did play, he only had 1 season where he threw more touchdowns than interceptions. But let's compare him to some other NFL quarterbacks of that time. Bart Starr, 152 touchdowns, 138 interceptions. How many seasons did Bart Starr have more touchdowns than interceptions? 7. His completion percentage, 57%. That's a big difference if you ask me. Now let's take a look at Johnny Unitas. 290 touchdown passes, 253 interceptions. Completion percentage, 54.6. Total yards passing, over 40,000. How about Len Dawson? 239 touchdowns, 183 interceptions. A completion percentage of 57.1. So if you ask me, I don't think the era was the problem. I mean, let's be honest, guys. The guy had 1 magical season and 1 magical guarantee. But there's absolutely no way Joe Namath belongs in the NFL Hall of Fame. The NFL Hall of Fame should be an exclusive club. A club that has no guarantees every year. We shouldn't just be putting a guy in the Hall of Fame because there's nobody else that was better that year. If there's nobody that's deserving of the Hall of Fame, then there shouldn't be anybody going in that year. It's that simple. So I gotta ask, what is an NFL Hall of Famer?
And he let everybody everybody in this thing now. It's not exclusive anymore.